chosen one, what I want you to hear today is not a warning intended to frighten you, but an invitation to pause. Look deeply into your life and recognize that you still have the freedom to choose a better direction. You may have encountered these words while your heart was restless, when many things were not unfolding as you had hoped, and you felt as though you were standing at a crossroads whose shape remained unclear. You do not need to regard this moment as your final opportunity. Nor should you fear that if you miss a few words, I will stop reaching for you. My love is not so fragile that it disappears simply because you are not yet ready to listen. Archangel Michael, my faithful messenger, protector, and executor of my will, is an image that reminds you of the courage to remain steadfast amid upheaval. Yet it is I who am speaking directly to you, telling you that you are free to listen in peace, reflect with discernment, and move forward without being controlled by fear. I know that recently you have felt an uneasiness that is difficult to name. There are days when you awaken with the sense that you can no longer continue living as you once did, even though you do not yet know what a new way of living will look like. Things that once satisfied you no longer carry the same meaning. Certain relationships have become burdensome, some habits have begun to exhaust you, and goals that were once very important no longer seem suitable for the person you are becoming. You may interpret these feelings as proof that an extraordinary event is approaching. But I want you to look at them more closely. Perhaps the deepest part of you is calling you to live more truthfully, responsibly, and consciously. Not every feeling of restlessness is a mystical sign. Sometimes it is a reminder that you have rested too little, carried too many responsibilities, or remained too long in an unhealthy situation. At times you feel unsettled because an important decision has been postponed. At other times, you already know what must be done, but continue avoiding it because you fear how others will react. Wisdom does not require you to explain every emotion through supernatural causes. Care for your body, your sleep, your work, and your relationships. Ask what is truly creating pressure, what you are able to change, and where you need to seek help. Do not think that I call you only a limited number of times and will turn away if you do not respond quickly enough. I am not standing before you with a countdown clock. I know that you have moments of strength and days of great exhaustion. Some truths you understand immediately, while others require months or even years to take root deeply within you. I am patient with that process, however. Patience does not mean that you should endlessly postpone what you already know to be right. If you recognize a harmful habit, an apology that needs to be offered, or a boundary that needs to be established, begin with the smallest step you are able to take. Do this not because tomorrow will be too late, but because today is the gift you truly hold in your hands. Perhaps you have heard messages that made you afraid that if you did not respond immediately, I would become silent and your life would begin falling apart again. My beloved child, do not allow anyone to use my name to bind you in such fear. The difficulties of life are not punishments because you failed to comment, share, or follow a piece of content. I do not sell protection in exchange for engagement. You do not need to type a word beneath a screen to prove your faith. An amen has meaning only when it is freely spoken from your heart, not when it is expressed because you fear missing something good or believe that disaster may occur. The response I desire is revealed through the way you live. You choose honesty instead of continuing to hide, forgiveness instead of nurturing bitterness, responsibility instead of blame, and kindness, even when no one praises you. You may speak hundreds of beautiful words while still refusing to correct a way of living that harms others. On the other hand, you may not have many words to say, yet one sincere apology, one calm conversation, or one decision to leave something unhealthy behind can be a very clear response. I look at the direction of your life. I do not count the number of words you write. You do not need to believe that your name has just been announced during a secret gathering in heaven, in order to know that your life has value. I have known your name for a long time, yet this does not place you above the people around you. Every person possesses dignity, carries battles no one else can see, and has the ability to choose what is good. When you know that you are seen, that knowledge should make you more humble, not cause you to regard yourself as the only one selected to receive a special message. I want you to use the experience of being loved to love others, and the experience of being supported to support those who are weary, rather than using it to build a spiritual sense of superiority. A turning point may be approaching, but do not imagine only an external event that will transform everything in an instant. A genuine turning point sometimes occurs when you stop returning to someone who continually makes you question your worth. It may be the day you decide to seek help for pain that has continued for too long. It may begin when you honestly examine your financial situation, change a spending habit, or complete something you have repeatedly postponed. Sometimes a turning point is simply the quiet declaration, I do not want to continue living this way, and I will begin learning a different way. I do not promise that every plan that has kept you small will suddenly be overturned. Not every difficulty exists because someone is deliberately trying to prevent your progress. Some limitations arise from circumstances, insufficient preparation, former choices, or matters beyond your control. Yet even within these limitations, you can still grow. You can learn more, seek advice, try a different approach, and build healthier relationships. Your strength is not found in believing that every obstacle will disappear, but in refusing to allow obstacles to take away your character, hope, and discernment. You once waited for a door to appear as proof that your life had finally entered a new season. Yet, perhaps the door was already present in a very ordinary form. A conversation you needed to initiate, a course you could take, an invitation you needed to examine carefully, or a small responsibility you needed to fulfill consistently. You often desire a door so great that it cannot possibly be misunderstood, while important paths frequently begin through a very narrow opening. Pay attention to what is already present, instead of pursuing only signs that stir powerful emotions. When you stand before an opportunity, do not act merely because you fear it will disappear. Gather information, ask questions, and observe whether it is consistent with good values. An open door is not automatically a door you should enter. Some attractive offers require you to compromise your integrity. Some relationships create intense emotions, but offer no respect. Some projects promise rapid success, but lack transparency. I do not pressure you to rush into what remains unclear. Genuine peace allows you to reflect and accept responsibility for your decision. If you feel that everything around you is falling apart, do not immediately conclude that it is punishment or a sign that I have left you. Some old structures are no longer suitable and need to be rebuilt. Some connections end because mutual care is absent. Some plans fail because they do not yet have a strong enough foundation. there are also deeply painful losses that you may not yet understand. In every situation, face the truth instead of searching for an explanation that increases your fear. Repair what can be repaired. Give yourself time to grieve what must be grieved. Release what needs to be released with wisdom. I know that you often desire assurance that everything will immediately become better after a change. Yet growth does not follow a perfectly straight upward path. One day you may feel courageous, and the next day you may doubt yourself again. You may establish a boundary and later feel guilty about it. You may maintain a new habit for a week, only for an unexpected event to pull you toward an old pattern. Do not allow one step backward to invalidate your entire process. Recognize what happened, make adjustments, and continue. You are not beginning again from nothing. You carry with you everything you have learned. I want you to open your eyes, but not so that you will search everywhere for frightening signs. Open your eyes to see who is sincerely present, what is exhausting you, and where practical opportunities exist. Open your heart, but not so widely that everyone is automatically given access. Open yourself to healing, honest correction, and the possibility that you still have things to learn. An open heart is not the same as an unlocked door. You need both compassion and boundaries. Some people have hurt you, and you may have spent too much time waiting for them to change or apologize. Today, I invite you to release the need to control their response. Forgiveness does not mean that you call wrongdoing good. It does not require you to return to an unsafe place. Forgiveness means refusing to allow bitterness to continue determining the way you speak, love, and view life. You can create distance without hatred. You can wish them well without restoring their access to your life. Forgive yourself as well. Forgive yourself for delaying, ignoring warning signs, living for years according to other people's expectations, or allowing fear to choose in your place. You cannot return to the past and force your former self to move more quickly. That person did the best they could with the understanding they possessed. Today, you can see more clearly, so use your present light to move forward rather than using it to humiliate your past. Compassion toward yourself does not make you weak. It creates room for you to change without being paralyzed by shame. If you feel that change is calling you, begin by creating space. Release commitments that are no longer necessary. Step away from conversations that only nourish negativity. Rearrange your time so that you can rest, learn, and be fully present with those you love. A life filled with constant chaos will struggle to recognize something new. Yet do not attempt to change everything in one day. Choose the clearest area and begin there. Perhaps you need to stop continually searching for a new message in order to feel guided. Encouraging words may lift you for a moment, but they cannot replace real life. You still need to work, communicate, care for your health, manage your finances, and accept responsibility for your choices. Do not become dependent upon the feeling of being awakened every day while taking no action. One small decision faithfully maintained is worth more than many hours of powerful emotion, followed by a return to your former way of living. I do not require you to know the entire road. You need only be honest about the next step. Is there a call you need to make? Is there someone who needs to receive your apology? Is there a habit you know you must stop? Is there something you need to learn before accepting an opportunity? When you do not know, seek a trustworthy and experienced person who is willing to tell you the truth. Healthy guidance does not make you dependent. It helps you mature and accept responsibility for your own life. If your restlessness becomes overwhelming, causing you to lose sleep, frequently panic, or become unable to complete daily activities, do not insist on viewing it only as a spiritual sign. Seek appropriate help. A qualified professional can help you understand what is happening and guide your body and mind back toward a greater sense of safety. Seeking support does not betray your faith. It is an act of humility that acknowledges you do not need to solve everything alone. My beloved child, you have never failed completely. You have simply passed through seasons in which the results had not yet reflected all the effort, perseverance, and inner change taking place within you. I have seen every time you rose after disappointment. Every day you continued doing what was right, even though no one acknowledged you, and every moment when you wanted to surrender, but still managed to take one more step. The refining furnace of your life has been heated by the things you quietly continued doing, by your faithfulness during days without applause, and by your decision not to let bitterness turn you into someone else. Archangel Michael, my faithful messenger, protector, and executor of my will, is an image reminding you to preserve your courage when the journey becomes exhausting. Yet it is I who am speaking directly to you. Do not leave the good path, simply because you cannot yet see the gold being formed beneath the heat of the process. Many people give up, not because they lack ability, but because they judge the process too early. They plant a seed and become disappointed when the soil remains silent the next day. They study a skill for a short time and conclude that they have no talent. They attempt to change a habit several times, stumble, and then treat that stumble as proof that they can never change. You have thought this way before. Whenever results were slow to arrive, you questioned whether your efforts were useless. Yet genuine growth rarely makes a great noise during its earliest days. Roots develop where no one can see them, and character is built through small choices that remain unnoticed by others. I do not want you to interpret the silence of your circumstances as proof that I have become silent toward you. Some seasons contain no clear answer, because you are being invited to use the wisdom you have already received, instead of waiting for a sign before taking every step. You have learned enough to recognize what is exhausting you, which relationship requires boundaries, and which responsibility should no longer be postponed. Sometimes you ask for direction, while the first part of the road is already present in something very ordinary. Fulfilling what you promised, speaking the truth with kindness, seeking support, or stopping behavior that repeatedly causes harm. I can still guide you in silence through responsibility and discernment. I have not forgotten what you lost, but not everything that was lost needs to be restored. Some things should be repaired because they were damaged through misunderstanding, immaturity, or a mistake that can still be corrected. Some relationships are worth rebuilding when both people genuinely accept responsibility and demonstrate change through their actions. Some opportunities may return in another form when you are better prepared. Yet other things need to be brought to an end, because attempting to restore them to their former shape would only continue causing pain. Restoration does not mean recovering everything at any cost. Restoration means recovering peace, dignity, and the ability to live fully, even when some doors remain closed. You have asked me to correct everything that was unjust. But there are things I will help you release instead of returning to you. Someone who left may not come back. Lost time cannot be recovered. A plan that was once important may no longer be suitable for the person you are today. Do not treat this as evidence that your prayers were ignored. Sometimes the answer is the strength to accept what cannot be changed, the courage to rebuild from where you are, and the wisdom to stop investing in a path that has revealed itself to be unhealthy. I also want you to understand timing correctly. Some practical opportunities require you to act at the proper time. Because a job has an application deadline, a conversation should not be postponed indefinitely, or a condition needs early attention. Yet, I do not lead you through panic that claims everything good will disappear within a few minutes. Healthy urgency helps you stop procrastinating, while harmful pressure takes away your ability to think. When a message makes you feel that you must decide immediately in order to avoid disaster or preserve a blessing, pause. Breathe slowly, verify the truth, and ask whether the choice is consistent with your values, responsibilities, and actual circumstances. You do not need to subscribe to a channel, write a comment, or perform a ritual upon a screen in order to remain close to me. No one can sell you spiritual alignment through the press of a button. Harmony with what is good is revealed in your life. Do you live honestly? Do you know how to apologize when you are wrong? Do you treat vulnerable people fairly? Do you care responsibly for what has been entrusted to you? A declaration may encourage you briefly, but it cannot replace discipline, correction, and perseverance. I do not seek engagement motivated by fear. I invite you to respond through a kind and responsible life. If these words make you feel awakened, allow that awakening to lead to practical action. Do not merely search for more messages that elevate your emotions while leaving your life unchanged. Choose one thing that needs to change and begin. Perhaps you need to organize your living space to reduce chaos. Perhaps you need to review your finances, complete an application, seek advice, or schedule a meeting with a professional. Perhaps you need to call someone you hurt and offer an apology without excuses. Awareness becomes a turning point only when it is joined with action. I know you are afraid that if you make the wrong move, you will miss the best possible path. This fear has kept you standing still in many situations. Yet, my beloved child, not every choice determines your entire destiny. Some decisions can be adjusted, plans can be revised, and paths can be changed when you receive new information. Prepare carefully, but do not require yourself to know every outcome with certainty before taking a step. You can take one small step, observe, learn, and adjust. Wisdom does not always give you a complete map. Sometimes it illuminates only the ground directly before your feet. What you do today affects more than your own life. The way you handle pain may become an example for younger people who are watching you. When you choose conversation, instead of punishing others with silence, you create a new way of resolving conflict within your family. When you learn to manage money responsibly, you reduce the burden carried by those who come after you. When you seek help, instead of hiding your difficulties, you teach them that strength does not mean suffering alone. Transformation across generations rarely begins with a dramatic event. It usually begins when one person decides not to continue what has caused everyone pain. You do not need to see yourself as the person responsible for rescuing your entire family line. That burden is too great and does not belong to you. You need only remain faithful to the part you can fulfill. You cannot heal everyone, force them to change, or repair the entire past. Yet you can change the way you respond, protect your boundaries, and create a healthier space within your area of influence. A mature person does not attempt to control everything. They clearly recognize what belongs to their responsibility and what must be returned to the choices of others. I want you to be cautious of the belief that every loss was stolen and every delay was caused by a force opposing you. Some things are genuinely unjust, but other outcomes result from insufficient preparation, unclear communication, or a decision that needs to be reconsidered. When you call every failure an attack, you may miss the lesson that could help you grow. Look at events with calm eyes. Release self-blame for what was beyond your control. Accept responsibility without shame for what truly belonged to you. You do not become weaker when you admit that you were wrong. You become stronger because you are able to correct it. Some things were withheld from you unjustly, and you have the right to seek justice through proper means. Ask for information, preserve evidence, seek support, and speak up when necessary. Yet do not allow the struggle to recover what was lost to consume all your time and peace. Sometimes wisdom means continuing to pursue correction. At other times, wisdom means recognizing that the cost has become too great and choosing to build a new direction. Not every battle must be won in the way you once imagined in order for your life to continue. You have spent many years feeling as though you were moving more slowly than others. You watched people achieve what you desired and wondered whether you had missed some mysterious cycle. Yet life does not operate according to hidden timeframes that force you to wait many months before receiving another opportunity. Opportunities come from many sources: preparation, trustworthy relationships, the needs of the community, and decisions you actively make. Some things will not return, but that does not mean the future has stopped opening. Learn from what has passed and remain ready without living in obsession. When a door closes, allow yourself to grieve if necessary, but do not build a tent in front of it. Turn around and look again. Another path may not appear as magnificent as the one you desired, but it may be better suited to your actual life. Perhaps you need to build a bridge instead of waiting for a door to open. Perhaps the new direction requires you to learn from the beginning, and this may make your pride uncomfortable. Yet beginning small does not make you insignificant. A person humble enough to learn again often travels farther than one who wishes to appear only after becoming worthy of admiration. I do not promise that everything you believe in will open without any lock standing in the way. Faith does not remove processes, limitations, and responsibilities. You still need to submit applications, practice, build trust, and accept that you may sometimes be rejected. Yet faith can help you refuse to treat every obstacle as the end. It helps you return to your work after failure, ask for feedback after a disappointing result, and move forward without allowing shame to determine your worth. A door may be difficult to open, but you can become patient enough to find the right key or discerning enough to choose another door. Do not fear that silence will cause you to pay a terrible price. Sometimes silence is avoidance, but at other times it is a necessary space in which you can listen, rest, and refrain from saying something you will later regret. What matters is the motive behind it. If you remain silent because you are afraid to face the truth, seek the courage to speak. If you use silence to punish someone, learn how to communicate. Yet if you remain silent in order to regain calmness, reflect, and listen more deeply to another person, it may be a mature choice. Not every silence is a failure. Forgive those who slowed your progress, but do not use forgiveness to erase the lesson. Some people failed to keep their promises, some diminished your ability, and others approached you only when they needed something. You can release bitterness while adjusting the amount of trust you give them. You can wish them peace without returning them to their former position in your life. Forgiveness frees your heart. Boundaries protect your future. You need both so that you do not become bitter, but also do not repeat your former innocence. Forgive yourself for the times you surrendered too early and the times you remained for too long. You acted according to the understanding and strength you possessed at that time. Today, you know more, so make a different choice instead of continuing to condemn yourself. Regret should become a teacher, not a prison guard. Receive the lesson, repair what can still be repaired, and release the rest. You cannot move forward quickly while carrying every old trial within your heart. My beloved child, your future is truly being built, but not through a decision made within a few minutes while the unseen realm watches you. It is being built through what you repeatedly do each day, the way you use your mornings, the way you speak when angry, the way you manage what you possess, and the way you treat people who cannot offer you any advantage are all shaping your future. Small choices gradually become character, character becomes direction, and direction produces new results. You do not need to panic over a single moment. You need to remain faithful through many moments. If you desire to say, "I receive this," do not say it to prove something to anyone or to open a mysterious door. Let those words mean that you accept responsibility for your life, accept the ability to learn, accept forgiveness, and accept the opportunity to begin again. Then turn the words into action. Receive peace by leaving an unnecessary argument. Receive wisdom by asking questions before making a decision. Receive renewal by refusing to return to what has repeatedly caused you pain. Now rise from the place where you have remained too long in self-doubt. You do not need to run, but you should no longer postpone what has become clear. Complete one step today. Do not attempt to create a dramatic breakthrough for others to see. Create a change. You can continue tomorrow. It may be going to sleep at the proper time, submitting a job application, expressing a boundary, or keeping a small promise. Gold is not formed through one sudden burst of fire, but through a process sustained long enough for what is rough and unrefined to be purified. Finally, return to peace. You are not standing before a window that is about to close forever. You are standing before a genuine choice, to continue allowing the past to control you, or to begin living according to your new understanding. Choose with courage, but do not choose in panic. Be grateful for those who have helped you, for the lessons that have deepened you, and for the opportunity that remains present today. Preserve hope, but place your hope in a life built upon truth and responsibility. I do not leave you when you require more time. Neither do I encourage you to remain asleep in procrastination. I walk beside you at the pace of maturity. Slowly when reflection is needed, quickly when what is right has become clear, resting when you are tired, and rising when you have regained strength. Allow Michael to remind you not to surrender before the gold has taken shape, but allow my love to protect you from turning the journey into a battle filled with fear. You have not failed. You are learning not to allow failure to speak in your place. You have not been left behind. You are being invited to examine the road carefully and walk with greater discernment. Repair what must be repaired. Close what must be closed. Remain faithful to what must continue. Then, day by day, you will recognize that the greatest breakthrough does not come from a door suddenly bursting open, but from becoming someone who no longer runs from challenges, no longer exchanges dignity for recognition, and no longer gives fear the authority to rule. Continue forward, my beloved child. Forgive others, forgive yourself, and release the threatening words that once made you believe you had to hurry in order to be loved. You do not need to prove your faith through a comment. Demonstrate your growth through a life that becomes increasingly kind, honest, and peaceful. What you do today may become a place of shade for those who come after you. Therefore, live intentionally, but do not carry the pressure of having to save the entire world. Simply preserve clarity upon your own path, and each day take one more step toward the beautiful person I have always seen within you.